Hello and welcome back to another 5 Minute Friday from OnTheHill Studios. The date is December 6th, 2019, and today we're going to be going over version 2 of our grabbing system. We're going to have our new programmer Jake take you through our monster AI overhaul that he's been working on. This will have a big effect on a variety of gameplay mechanics in the dark, as well as I'll be going over Trello, which is our new task organization system that we've been using at OTH Studios to make sure we're on top of the things that we have to get done and to help speed up our development process. Without further ado, let's get started. At a high level, the purpose of Grabbing System version 2 was to allow the player to grab objects from a wider range of angles. This way, they don't have to think as much when they're trying to pick something up, and it will be much more intuitive and easy for them to do so. Version 2 of the Grabbing System builds off of version 1 by using the same object detection system. We essentially have a cone collider that uses on-trigger enter to determine when a grabbable object is within our grabbing range. The key difference here is now we have multiple cone colliders. We assign a priority to each one. Our current iteration of the grabbing system simply has 4 cone colliders. However, the way that this code works is you can expand it to be as many colliders as you desire. In code, it's quite simple. Let's start with the sensors. So every single collider will have what we call a sensor script attached to it. In this script, all it's doing is calling on trigger enter and checking if any object that enters its trigger space is a grabbable object. If it is, it adds it to a list and it compiles that list of all the objects that are grabbables. Then, when necessary, we can call a function that figures out which of these grabbables is closest. This is as simple as subtracting 2 transform positions. Now, in your parent grabbing script, the one that handles all of these sensors, all you have to do is do a for each loop going through every single one of the sensors that you have told it should keep track of. It will naturally start at index 0 and move its way upwards. This is how you do the priority. When somebody wants to grab an object, you start with the highest priority sensor, check if there's any objects that it's able to grab. If yes, then get the closest grabbable. If no, move to the wider sensor or move to the next sensor and check that. And that's really all there is to it. If you want some bonus points, you can do what we did and add a raycast to double check that there's no objects obstructing your hand's vision from this object. For example, I shouldn't be able to pick up a lantern through a table. Doing a raycast check helps prevent this scenario. If you're looking to replicate this effect for yourself, I can't guarantee that copying the code from this video will work 100%. The reason being, this code exists within our larger grabbing system, and while this handles the vast majority of our interactions that trigger a grabbing scenario, there's some more that happens of summoning the object to your hand, creating configurable joints, etc. But this is the best method that we've found as far as detecting objects and determining which one the player wants to grab.
So to start off here, a little bit on the monster AI overhaul. I began by tweaking the trigger for the aggression to be based on the monster's distance from the player rather than the previous method, which was essentially a countdown timer decrementing and subsequently increasing the likeliness for the player to encounter the monster. This, in my opinion, allows for a much more randomized and genuine game experience overall. Once the monster begins attacking, a few things can potentially occur. Either 1, the monster teleports out of the player's view and begins sprinting towards the player, or 2, the player is successfully able to shine the flashlight at the monster, essentially scaring it away and resulting in it teleporting out of range until the next random encounter. Or, if at a higher AI tier, the monster will teleport and continue to attack X number of times with the range and subsequently the difficulty of the encounter based on this AI tier as well. The following gameplay clip is a little of me testing the monster's continuation of attacking the player and teleporting. This is essentially simulating a higher tier of AI for the monster. Also, to establish more of a challenge and require even more skill from the player, during this time the player's flashlight will continually be failing until a predetermined timeout value is reached, resulting in the flashlight to fail completely. If and when this occurs, the player will need to beat the shit out of the flashlight until it becomes functional again.
Now, to wrap up, I just wanted to briefly talk about Trello, which is our new task organization system. A lot of small businesses and indie studios use this. If you don't use it, I highly recommend it. Essentially, it just makes it easier to figure out what did I work on last week, what am I working on this coming week, tracking all kinds of work. You can say how much time did I spend on per task, throw in success criteria, what does it mean for it to be done officially. You can throw down comments, mention other people that you're working with. If you're like blocked on something, add labels, MVP if it's a minimum viable product. just really, really helpful to organize. But one thing that will apply to you as a member of On the Hill, or as a fan, if you will, we already have a suggestions channel in our Discord, but we're working on a Trello board for suggestions. Now, what this means is when we see suggestions in this suggestion Discord channel, we'll be able to make a card for that on the Trello board. Then anybody, all of you in the public, will be able to go to that Trello board and vote on which one of these features you think would be the best. That way we can make sure we're putting our time into things that are relevant and useful for you as a player. That about wraps it up for today. I hope you found this useful and entertaining. And if there's something you'd like to see, whether that's a YouTube video or a feature added to the game, be sure to leave a comment down below. If you liked the video, leave a like, and as always, subscribe and have a good one.